We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Bill the Stumper. Now, Bill has his dedicated theater build is coming along really nicely. He says it's 19 feet long, 13.5 feet wide, and a little over 8 feet tall. They'll be sitting 11.5 feet from the eyes to screen in the primary row. And he's sold on JVC X950 projector, dual SVS PB13 Ultra subs.
Woo!
19 by 13 by 8. That's a lot of subs, sir. You could have got away with the 2000. Denon AVR X6300H receiver and Ascend Sierra RAW speakers up front with focal Superbird surrounds and surround back speakers and focal Bird Atmos speakers on the ceiling. Okay. As a side note, he says he's tried listening to just the focal Bird speakers on their own, and he's amazed at how good they are, so he's really happy with that recommendation. So good.
Yay!
The birds. The birds. All right, the AVR X6300H has 11 built-in amps, but would there be any benefit adding an external amplifier? If he does add an external amp, should he go for something quite powerful to power the front three speakers? Should he go for something not so powerful, but with lots of channels to offload all the surround and overhead speakers? Basically, what do we recommend as far as amplification goes? I recommend you stick with the 6300H.
Just give it a try, first of all.
That's what I would. I would start there, and then if I said, "Ooh, I'm hearing," oh my God, it's past 11 o'clock. Dang it, Rob!
I know.
We're
still gonna have like 9 questions left.
I don't care. We're like 60% through, 70% through this document, so we're doing good. Anyways, I would start with the receiver itself. I would stay there for at least a couple of months. If you started hearing what you thought was distortion at any point during those first couple of months, then I would come back to us and say, this is what I'm hearing, why am I hearing that? And we might say buy amps. Chances are you don't need them. I don't know. How hard are those RAWs to drive? The CR2s? Or
they're not hard to drive, certainly not. What they are is exceedingly revealing of any noise floor that you might have.
But he's sitting 11 feet away, dude. I mean...
I know, but those tweeters weigh nothing. Yeah. So if there is any noise floor coming through, you can hear it in those tweeters. So that would be my possible concern. What else, if I were to just predict, and I haven't heard the 6300H, I don't know. Maybe that new design where each amplifier can request power as it's needed will really help out. I don't know. But I know that in the past, like when I had or I still have it, but I'm not using it, my Onkyo flagship that was the 5010, it had the lowest noise floor I've heard from any amplifier. That even includes my ATI. Up to having 5 speakers connected to it.
Right.
After I connected more than 5 speakers to that Onkyo, the noise floor rose. And that has been a pretty consistent thing across any of the receivers I've used. Once you start to get past 5 or 7 speakers, you start to hear the noise floor rising. And that's just because there is this damping factor. That's the thing that, you have to remember each speaker is also a microphone. Any movement in the air is moving that cone a little bit, and it's sending an electrical signal back up to the AV receiver. There's a damping factor in there that tries to damp that out and reduce that, but eventually that damping factor is overcome, and you start to hear the noise floor rise. So if I were to predict, I would say that the 6300H, being very capable, probably you connect 5 or 7 speakers to it and you will hear almost no noise floor. Connecting all 11, I would actually be surprised if you don't hear the noise floor rise. That would be kind of amazing if they managed to pull that off.
Do not call me and say, I can hear a noise floor. How close are you? I put my ear right on the tweeter. That doesn't count, dude.
But he's not going to be sitting terribly far from some of these speakers. He's going to be fairly close to some of these speakers. So
we'll see.
That's all I'm saying. But my suggestion would be exactly yours. Try it out. Listen to it. If you go, you know what? I can hear a hiss and it doesn't bother me, then who cares? Or I can hear a little bit of a hiss and it does bother me. Okay. I would recommend to you to get the 5-channel Emotiva Bass X amp. That's their A500, I think, is the model number.
Right.
That's like a $500 5-channel receiver. Plenty of power. 120 watts per channel, basically. Plenty of power to drive your front 3 and your surrounds, right? Offload those, the most power-hungry ones. Power those with this nice, not crazy expensive amplifier, if we're being honest. And that will get rid of your noise floor issues, leave your surround backs and your 4 overhead speakers powered by the X6200H. That's what I would do.
All right. His screen is about 50 inches tall. He doesn't want to have to crane his neck backwards in order to see the top of the screen, so he's planning on having the top of the frame about 14 inches from the ceiling. This leaves about 28 inches of space below the bottom edge of the screen frame. The Ascend Horizon center is 11 inches tall, so he bought the VTI center speaker stand that is 13 inches tall and has a 6-degree upward angle. Build used a laser pointer, though, and it seems as though the angle isn't steep enough, as the laser was basically hitting his knees. His screen is not permanently hung yet, so should he move the screen upwards a bit to increase the height of the center speaker stand, or should he leave things where they are just increase the upward tilt of the center speaker? Could tilting the center speaker too much cause other problems? Now, the first thing you should do is project this thing on your wall and look at it. Like, it doesn't have to be the wall that you're actually going to use, but take and sit in a chair, your chair, the chairs that you're planning on using, if you can, and then project it on the wall so that you're 11 feet away from it, and then look at it and see whether or not it's too high. His room's like 8 feet tall, right? A little over 8 feet tall.
Yeah, 8 feet 2 inches is what he said in his email. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I don't have to crane. And plus, if you have recliners, dude, as soon as you recline, you're not tilting your head at all, no matter what. I'm the same way. I don't want to have to tilt my head. I don't have to turn my head. I want to be able to just look. Okay, if I have to move my eyes a little bit, that's fine. So right now he's 13 and has 28 inches of space below it. 14 inches from the ceiling. 14 inches is fine. I don't know that I would do anything else. I would leave it right there. 14 inches is fine. I wouldn't go up any higher.
Yeah, I went by all the THX angles and everything like that. And the smallest number that I could work out where I said, okay, assuming I'm in a bit of a reclined seat and I don't want the top of the screen to be more than, the 15 degrees elevation that THX recommends, I got like 13 inches as the minimum. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe you could move your screen up 1 inch, maybe, but then what does that even do? I guess you can raise the center channel stand 1 inch. But that I think you're right in the ballpark. I think maybe you did just sit down and look at it and went, yeah, it's about as high as I want to put it. And all the math tells me you're on the money.
Yeah.
So, a 6-degree tilt is hardly anything. That's a really, really small amount of tilt.
Yeah, most center channels I've had in the last couple of years have had some sort of tilting mechanism shipped with them, little rubber thingies or whatever that you can do. And I have no problems with you changing that angle to be greater so that it points more directly towards your face. There's just no issue.
When you're talking angles from 11 feet away, it doesn't have to be a tremendous change to get that laser to suddenly be hitting your face instead of your knees. And also, I wasn't entirely sure in his email, it sounded like he put the laser pointer on top of the stand, not on top of the speaker.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge
Which
difference.
makes a big difference.
Yeah, you really want it to be right in front of the tweeter, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
So
which I mean, at least on the Horizon Center, the tweeter is right at the top of that speaker, so
you
could
put
pretty
right
much
at the top of the speaker.
But
there.
honestly, I think by the time you get to even just an 8 or a 10-degree tilt with the speaker on top of the stand, I think an 8 or a 10-degree tilt is all you're going to need. And that's, I mean, the Orlex Mopads are an 8-degree tilt. That's what they are.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't take much at all. I think you're very fine leaving things where they are and just tilting it a little bit more.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.